welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. Let's begin with the news. Thousands of residents of Gaza City are currently being evacuated to the south after a warning by the Israeli occupying forces. The warning comes after an attack by the Israeli forces to be carried out this Friday in the northern area of the territory where more than 1 million people live. Let's remember that in the last 24 hours, the percentage of displaced citizens rose to 25%, resulting in an approximate number of 423,378 displaced people. On Thursday, the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, expressed his concern for all the families affected by the bombardment in the Gaza Strip.
Worried. My heart goes to all those who have lost their lives and their families, both from Israel and Palestine. This is a very sad moment. But in this conflict, still, I think those who need the support should be supported, and those who need protection should be protected.
The director also requests the help of the Egyptian government to open a humanitarian corridor to provide provisions and supplies to the affected population in the Gaza Strip.
I just came from Cairo, actually, yesterday. Came back from Cairo. And I met President al-Sisi of Egypt. And I asked him if he could help in transferring medical supplies through the Gaza crossing, the Rafah crossing, to help the Palestinians in Gaza, which he had agreed. And we need a corridor to provide medical services and so on. That's what I would ask for. One is to protect civilians, and second, to provide them with the support they need, be it food, medical services, supplies, and the other things.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, in Amman, Jordan. The meeting was held behind closed doors, and no further information on the results of the meeting is known. Blinken will also meet with the Jordanian King Abdullah II, who has condemned the incessant Israeli bombardments on the Palestinian enclave. Between tomorrow and Sunday, he will visit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. On Friday, Hezbollah Secretary General Sayed Hassan Nasrallah received Iran's Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian. Lebanese press stated that the authorities held a meeting to review actions taken in the region, particularly the recent Israeli attack on the Gaza Strip in the occupied Palestine. Iranian Minister Hussein Amir assured that it is important for his country to maintain calm in Lebanon. In Iraq, thousands of protesters took to Baghdad street to back the Palestinian people. Demonstrators waved Iranian and Palestinian flags as they were carrying mottos and carrying banners on occupation down with Israel. According to the local media, supporters trampled Israel's flags to express their rejection to the actions taken by the occupying forces. On Thursday, in the United States, demonstrators in the city of Los Angeles gathered in support of the Palestinian people. The mobilization called for peace and demanded Palestinian people's self-determination. In this sense, the demonstrators also reject the Biden administration aid to Israel's government. Let's recall that Secretary of State Antony Blinken spent on Thursday in Tel Aviv, where he pledged unwavering solidarity with the U.S. ally.
So today, we say that we want peace. We do want peace. But there cannot be peace unless the Palestinian people have self-determination, have their land back, then they can live a free life. If that happens, there will be peace. But we know that the Israeli state doesn't want to do that.
Number one, first and foremost, the United States needs to end all funding for Israel. They give $3 billion a year, more than that, in funding, which by and large goes for military hardware.
Let's take a very short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The series Cuba on the Move continues for the different platforms of teleSUR, focusing on the identity of Cubans in its multifacets. This time, we dive into the world of Cuban spoken improvised poetry, the repentismo. The protagonist of the fifth episode is the young Alex Diaz Hernandez, and our correspondent Fabiola Lopez tells us his story. Let's see.
To know the life of a repentista, there is no better way than to start your story with an improvised verse. The phrase to complete this time is put by teleSUR, and it is, "The Cubans are."
Los cubanos son la fiesta.
The Cubans are the party, the Cubans are love.
Los cubanos son
The
la
Cubans are
flor
the flower that
que
blooms in
florece
the
en la
forest.
floresta. Los cubanos son la orquesta y
The
son
Cubans
la
are the
melancolía.
orchestra
Los
and the
cubanos
melancholy. The
son
Cubans
el
are the
día,
day,
la noche,
the night,
la
the spring. The
primavera.
Cubans are
Los
the air
cubanos son
converting
la
into
era
Cubanism.
convertida en cubanía.
Alex says he is a young man who lives dreaming and creating projects according to what he defends, the décima, poetic improvisation, and the punto cubano. To be a repentista, do you need a special gift? Are you born with it? How is it?
It is no longer an experiment. For more than 20 years, there have been specialized schools of poetic improvisation in Cuba, and there are results. There are many young people, the young vanguard of Cuban repentismo right now. The vast majority are graduated from schools of repentismo. And then I have the duality of having the teacher at home, to dream from the poetic class constantly, and to be a graduate and teacher right now of the improvisation schools.
Alex remembers that before improvising, he would go up on stage with learned décimas with his father, the famous repentista Alex Diaz Pimienta.
I started improvising when I was 8 or 9 years old, and that's when I did my first thing. But I've been on stage since I was 4 or 5 years old, doing learned decima from school. Improvisation is being on a tightrope all the time. You can do well, you can do badly. The fear of not knowing how you're going to have your mind that day always follows you to the stage 30 seconds before starting.
Alex is one of those convinced that the décimas and poetic improvisation can be fashionable.
I think it has advanced a lot. We have a large number of young people who have approached the poetic improvisation with a different vision. There are others who don't approach it because they simply see it as something out of fashion. I think it is totally wrong and about all, seen from a generalized ignorance that there is about the declamation and improvisation.
He recognizes himself as a defender and exponent of neo-repentismo, a term that links the improvised and oral decima with other artistic manifestations, the theater, the audiovisuals, the music in all its genres.
No, I'm a lover and defender of neo-repentismo completely. I believe that the future is there. It is not that we leave aside traditional repentismo because we come from it and because it has an incredible value, because it is an immortal part of humanity. But the evolution of the arts of life of the contemporary is forcing us to give a turning point and show poetic improvisation with other nuances.
Now I'm going to tell you a phrase so you can improvise. I would change in Cuba.
I would change the people who don't go out to fight. I would change the foreign play different. I stay with this atmosphere of music, sound, beat. I stay in this improvised verse that has so much past, but it won't change anymore.
At the age of 28, Alex Diaz Hernandez has a fixed idea not to let the decima and the improvised verse die under any circumstances. For this, he organizes festivals, investigates, writes scripts, directs television programs, and improvises verses to answer the questions of curious journalists. And the future of Cuba?
The future is virtuosity, the future is nervousness, the future is the road, the future is to be happy. It is simple to verse and decide, as I think that I love this country.
Fabiola Lopez, teleSUR, La Habana.
The 9th Parliamentary Summit of the Nations of the Group of 20 began on Friday in India with a view to promoting global governance in order to face the current legislative challenges. The opening date of the parliamentary meeting was led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who stressed the importance of public participation in addressing global challenges. He also expressed his confidence in the positive impact of the presentations and exchange of experiences. Modi said that mainstreaming gender equality and digital transformation for life are part of the agenda. In Angola, the National Assembly debates proposal for the removal of President João Lourenço. The motion presented by a group of opposition parliamentarians argues that the president subverted the democratic process and consolidated an authoritarian regime that threatens peace and citizens' rights. In this regard, the president of the National Assembly, Carolina Cerqueira, instructed the Permanent Commission to receive and discuss a possible impeachment trial on the President of the Republic. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.